Imagine that right now you're stepping out the front door of your house. The morning air brushes against your face, and you slip your hand into your pocket. There, you feel the reassuring weight of an old leather wallet. But inside that wallet, there are no coins, no crumpled bills, and no credit cards. What you're carrying there is pure gold. Not just gold, but gold dust, bright, flawless, and radiant. Carl Gustav Jung, the great Swiss psychiatrist, called this gold libido. But don't confuse this with the modern use of the word. He wasn't just talking about sexual desire. He was talking about your vital psychic energy. It's the force that makes your eyes shine when you talk about a dream. It's the energy that brings abundance to your work, patience with your children, and deep peace to your home. It's the fuel of your soul. Now answer with absolute sincerity. If you were walking down the street and met a stranger or even a distant acquaintance who looked at your pocket and asked, "What do you have there?" Would you open that bag? Would you grab that precious gold and throw it at their feet onto the dirty sidewalk, just so as not to seem rude? You would probably say never. But the bitter truth, my dear friend, is that analytical psychology has revealed that this is exactly what we do every day. Without realizing it, we turn our lives into energetic chaos. Think about the last time you ran into someone in the elevator or in the hallway at work. The person asks, out of pure social habit, "Hey, how's it going?" And before you know it, it's like a spell. You open your mouth, which Jung considered the gateway to the soul, and pour it all out. You talk about your plans, the promotion that's almost a done deal, the argument you had with your husband or wife last night. You scatter your gold at the feet of someone who often wasn't even listening. And then, when night falls and you collapse onto the couch, you feel this inexplicable weight. The exhaustion isn't physical, it's spiritual. You ask yourself, why do I feel so exhausted? Is this failure? It's not failure, it's a leak, working in a stone tower in Balingen. Carl Jung realized that keeping the doors of the soul wide open allows inner warmth to escape and the icy winds of the world to freeze your core. We lose our power when we give the wrong answers to the wrong people at the wrong time. Today I will share with you an ancient secret about how to close this bag. I will teach you how to protect your life energy using Jungian wisdom so that abundance, health, and peace do not slip through your fingers. The first defense is the persona's fog. Now that you understand the value of the gold you carry, we need to talk about the first thief of his treasure. He doesn't come armed. He comes with a smile and an innocent question. It's curiosity about your numbers. We live in an age obsessed with quantification. The world wants to know how much you paid for that car, what your salary is, and how much that trip cost. And here lies the danger that Jung identified in the collective unconscious, the dark impulse of comparison. When someone asks you for an exact figure, that person doesn't want to be your accountant. Their subconscious is actually trying to place you on a hierarchical scale. Where do I stand in relation to them? Am I higher or am I lower? It's a hunter sizing up its prey. If, in your purity and honesty, you answer, "Oh, I earned exactly 50,000 raise on this project," you just made a fatal mistake. If that number is less than what the person expected, they will feel immediate contempt. That's not much. Then he's not that good after all. And if the number is higher than what they can achieve, you awaken the monster of envy. Their mental calculator starts working. Why him? I'm better than him. It's unfair. To protect ourselves from this, we need to use a technique I call the persona fog, or vague numbers. Carl Jung experienced a situation that illustrates this perfectly. One day, in his tower in Balingen, he was visited by an ambitious young colleague. On Jung's desk lay a very rare alchemical book, an ancient work of art. The young man, his eyes gleaming with greed, asked, "Dr. Jung, this is wonderful. It must have cost a fortune. Exactly how many francs did you pay?" Jung, with all his wisdom, took a deep drag on his pipe, slowly exhaled the smoke, creating a haze between them, and said with an enigmatic smile, "You know, young man, I paid a price fair enough that I didn't feel cheated, but high enough that the seller smiled." Notice the genius of this. Did the young man get an answer? Yes. He heard a complete sentence. But did he get a number? No. His mind was spinning in a void. He couldn't pin a label on Jung. He didn't know whether to feel envy or contempt. By not giving an exact figure, Jung retained psychological control over the situation. Starting today, become invisible in this dangerous game. If they ask, "How much do you make?" say, "Enough to pay the bills and enjoy a fine glass of wine now and then." If they ask how much the car costs, say, "Less than it looks, but more than I'd like." Use the fog. Let them wander in uncertainty. Your luck and prosperity hate other people's ledgers. The second defense is the art of downplaying success. You protected your numbers, but there's something that's hard to hide: the glow of success. And here we enter delicate territory, where most people fail the test. From school, we were taught to hold up the trophy and expect applause. Social media screams, "Show off your victory. Shine." But no one warned us that the mountaintop is the place most exposed to strong winds and lightning. In-depth psychology: when you shine too brightly next to someone who is in the dark, you don't inspire them. You cause them pain. Your light casts a shadow on them, reminding them of everything they have achieved, of all the disappointments they carry. This gives rise to what we call negative psychic projection, or in folk wisdom, the evil eye. It is an electric charge of resentment that, if not grounded, will burn out your devices. That is, bring conflict, loss, and stress into your life. The second defense is the technique of devaluing success. It is the art of never celebrating your victory without a bitter aftertaste. I will tell you the story of Hans, a patient who perfectly illustrates this archetype. Hans had finally built his dream mansion on the shore of a lake in Zurich. It was a palace. He wanted to throw a housewarming party, but he feared the envy of his neighbors and relatives. He asked Jung what to do. The advice was contradictory. "Hans, if you want to live in peace in this house, you need to make them feel sympathy for you, not envy." The guests arrived in the evening. They gazed at the crystal chandeliers and marble floors with a mixture of admiration and restrained hatred. The atmosphere was heavy. Someone remarked, "Wow, Hans, what a huge room you have." Hans, remembering the advice, put his hand on his back, winced in pain, and said, "Ah, my friend, it's wonderful here, but heating it is a nightmare. In winter, this place turns into a refrigerator. And what about cleaning? My wife's hands are covered in dust. Sometimes I miss our little apartment. At least it was cozy there." The effect was magical. The guests' shoulders relaxed. Forced smiles turned into sincere smiles of sympathy. They thought, "Poor Hans, he has a big house, but he suffers from the cold and the work." Their mental balance was restored. Envy was neutralized by pity. Whenever you have a major achievement, immediately put a price on it in conversation. If you've been promoted, talk about the immense responsibility and the lost hours of sleep. If you're traveling to Europe, talk about your fear of flying or the exhaustion from layovers. Humanize your success through pain. People will forgive your wealth if they know you're paying for it in some way. This is your protective shield. The third defense is the gray stone method. But what if the attack comes not from silent envy, but from active aggression? What if you have to deal with that narcissistic boss, that critical mother-in-law, or that emotional vampire who seems to feed off your discomfort? Jung said that some people project their shadows onto others to relieve their own inner tension. They need your reaction. They need you to cry, scream, or make excuses. Your emotions are their food. To cope with this, I present the gray stone technique. Imagine an ordinary gray stone on the side of a dirt road. Is it interesting? No. Would you want to kick it? You'd probably hurt your foot. Would you argue with it? No, it can't respond. Would you take it home? No, it's incapable of anything. Your goal when you encounter a toxic person is to become that rock. Let's look at Layla's story. Layla was a sweet woman, but she lived in fear of her mother-in-law, a domineering matriarch who turned every Sunday dinner into an ordeal. Her mother-in-law criticized the food, the clothes, the way the children were raised. And Layla, always trying to please, fell into a trap. She cried, explained that she was following the recipe, and tried to defend herself. The more Layla fought back, the more powerful her mother-in-law felt, until Layla discovered the secret. The following Sunday, her mother-in-law lashed out. "This meat is dry. Will you never learn?" Silence fell at the table as everyone waited for Layla to cry. But Layla took a deep breath. Her face became expressionless. She looked at an empty spot on the wall and said in a monotone voice, "Well, maybe that's true." And she continued eating. Her mother-in-law, flustered by the lack of emotional engagement, tried again more insistently. "And your son? I heard he did poorly on his math test. Don't you care about that child?" Layla, cold as ice, replied, "Yeah, it happens." Her mother-in-law flushed. She tried to provoke her, insult her, bring up the past, but Layla responded only with indifferent one-word phrases. "I understand. You're entitled to your opinion. That's true." After 20 minutes, her mother-in-law was exhausted. Her energy turned against her. She fell silent and went to bed early, claiming she had a headache. For the first time in years, Layla left that dinner with her batteries recharged. To be a gray stone is not to be weak. It is the highest form of strength. Demonstrating strength means denying another person access to your inner world. When you don't react, the vampire starves to death. The fourth defense is the mirror of Narcissus. Now we need to talk about the danger disguised as kindness, as praise. You might think, but how can praise be bad? In Jungian psychology, excessive praise is often the flip side of envy. When someone says, "Wow, your life is perfect. You're so smart. You never make mistakes," that person is unconsciously creating an idealization that will sooner or later turn into demands or resentment. Furthermore, praise causes us to lower our guard. It softens our armor. We accept the flattery and our ego swells. And at that moment, we become vulnerable to the arrow lurking right behind it. The fourth defense mechanism is the technique of returning praise or mirroring it. A common mistake is to reject praise, "I'm ugly," or accept it thoughtlessly, "That's really how I am." This invites antipathy. The secret lies in receiving the energy and immediately returning it, like a mirror reflecting light. Meet the story of Aunt Suna and her friend Nerman. Nerman was known in the neighborhood for her sweet but poisonous tongue. Whenever she praised someone's health, that person would fall ill the following week. One day, Nerman met Suna and exclaimed, "Suna, my dear, how radiant you look today. That dress makes you look 20 years younger. You look like a young girl." Suna felt the weight of that gaze. Instead of blushing or shyly thanking her, she stared intently at the spot between Nerman's eyebrows, smiled firmly, and said, "Ah, Nerman, it's because your eyes are so kind. People see in the world what they carry in their hearts. If you see me as beautiful, it's because your soul is full of beauty today." Notice the skill. Suna didn't accept the compliment for the sake of her ego. She attributed it to Nerman's kindness. This creates a double psychological block. If Nerman was sincere, she would be happy. But if she harbored hidden envy, the poison bounced off the mirror. She cannot deny that she has a beautiful soul, and she was left speechless, choking on her own malice. From that day on, use the mirror. If someone tells you that you're smart, say, "I'm lucky to have such wise friends as you, who inspire me." Pass the ball back. Never hold on to that static energy. The fifth defense is the hermetic vessel. We are approaching the moment of greatest human fragility, illness, and healing. In alchemy, which Jung studied deeply, there's a golden rule. Transformation occurs only inside a hermetically sealed vessel. If the vessel has cracks, or if you open the lid during the process, the great work is not accomplished. The heat escapes and the reaction stops. Your body and psyche function the same way. When you are sick, when you are about to undergo surgery, or when you are healing from emotional trauma, you are a vessel in the process of transformation. The mistake most people make is seeking pity. We get sick and immediately post updates online, call all our relatives, and share the details of our diagnosis. We seek collective comfort. But Jung warns, pity is a heavy and sticky energy. It traps you in the identity of a victim. Moreover, by spreading the news, you attract thought forms of fear and doubt from other people. A wounded animal in the forest does not cry out. It hides in the darkest burrow. It remains in absolute silence, conserving every drop of energy for healing until it is ready to emerge again. The rule of keeping your mouth shut during illness is vital. Only your doctor and those who are directly caring for you should know the details. To the rest of the world, you're simply taking a break. Healing requires sacred privacy. The sixth defense is no without excuses. While you are healing and protecting your energy, the world will continue to knock on your door, asking for your time and money. And here lies a trap for good people, the inability to say no. The problem isn't yes. The problem is in the no, followed by a flimsy excuse. When you say, I can't go to your party because my mom is sick, or I can't lend you money because I'm renovating my house, you're making two serious psychological mistakes. First, you're belittling yourself. Second, you open the door to negotiation. The technique of saying no without excuses is liberating. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to justify why you want to protect your time. Your peace of mind doesn't need an alibi. The seventh defense, a pebble in your shoe. However, there are times when you can't hide. Success is visible. You arrived in your brand new car, lost 30 pounds, or your company made the cover of a magazine. Attention is powerful and undeniable. In this scenario, the fog doesn't work, and downplay your success might seem insincere. What to do? You use the pebble in the shoe technique. This means voluntarily adding a small, noticeable imperfection to your otherwise perfect image. Perfection is annoying. Perfection is off-putting. But near perfection inspires empathy. If you bought an incredible sports car and everyone is staring at it, don't park it as if it were some untouchable trophy. When someone compliments you, point out a minor flaw. It's a nice car, but I have to say, the seats are a bit stiff for long drives. My back was sore yesterday. You've thrown a spanner in the works. The other person, who was ready to hate you for your happiness, now thinks, the car is nice, but it gives you a backache. My old car is more comfortable. You've defused the envy bomb. You've shown humanity. This small strategic move protects all your achievements. One final major warning. The digital time bomb. We've come a long way, my friend. You've learned to hide your numbers, deflate envy, be a gray stone, deflect praise, stay silent when you're sick, say no, and humanize your success. But there is one more trap, a modern trap that Carl Jung didn't know about, but whose principles explain it perfectly. It's the time bomb you carry in your pocket, your cell phone and social media. There's no point in applying all the previous methods in the physical world if you break the sacred rule in the digital world. There's an ancient law of nature. A seed needs darkness to sprout. If you plant a seed in fertile soil and dig it up every 5 minutes to put in the sun, so you can show your neighbors that it's growing, you're killing the seed. It dries up, it dies. The same thing happens to your dreams and projects. When you post something new that isn't finished yet, or share a photo of a project that hasn't even started, a catastrophic neurochemical reaction occurs. Likes and comments trigger a release of dopamine in your brain. Your brain, which is primitive, understands that the task has already been completed. You feel the satisfaction of victory even before you fought the battle. The result, you lose motivation, the necessary drive to do the hard work. Energy flows down the drain of vanity. Furthermore, by announcing what you're going to do, you invite thousands of minds to comment, judge, and envy something that's still a fragile embryo. You attract unconscious blocks from people you don't even know. The rule is harsh and simple. Only what is complete should see the light of day. Show the harvest, not the planting. Show the diploma in your hand, not the course registration. Show the key to the new house, not the site visit. Keep it secret. Silence is fertile ground where your dreams grow strong and are protected. My dear friend, a full barrel makes no noise as it rolls. It is the empty can that makes a racket. A truly powerful person loves silence, prudence, and strategic modesty. Your mental energy, your gold, is the most valuable resource you possess. Do not let the world plunder it in exchange for a few seconds of social approval. Close your wallet. Lock the door to your soul against those who do not deserve to enter. Be a mystery. Be a rock. Be a mirror, and watch as your life begins to overflow with calm and unwavering abundance. If these words resonate with you, if this modern interpretation of ancient wisdom makes sense, make a pact of silence with yourself today. And, of course, if you want to continue this journey of self-discovery and protection, subscribe to the channel. But remember, don't tell anyone about your next steps. Let your results speak for you. Stay silent until our next conversation.